This is volume 135 from August 2000, and the big feature in this volume is Mario Tennis. And there's some other previews for Donald Duck, Perfect Dark for the Game Boy Color, and Dragon Warrior 1 and 2. So let's jump right into this one. So here we have the player's pulse. And just like the previous editions, it features some cool art on the envelopes that were sent in. And here we have the power charts. And since this is fairly late in the N64 life cycle, the number one on the most wanted is listed as Dolphin, which was the code name for the next system, which we know was the GameCube. So people were very hyped about what was coming next from Nintendo. A little blast from the past on this little feature on Nintendo websites. This is very early on, where if you had access to a computer with internet, it was going to be very slow dial-up. Alright, so here we go. Mario Tennis. Different ways to play. 4-way fray. Special matches. And different challenges. Players are available. We have Mario, Luigi, Peach, Baby Mario, action. We really need to get Waluigi his own game. He's been relegated to sports games and Mario Party for far too long. What do you think a Waluigi game would look like? Serving, slice, or top spin, lob shots and drop shots, power shots. A smashing good time. Godzilla 2000. In theaters that summer. Moving on, we have Ogre Battle 64. With this elemental forces that shows you how things interact with each other. So fire, water, air, and earth, and then holy and darkness are opposites. And we have some maps of the game. And then we have Rush 2049. I feel like there were just a ton of racing games on the N64. This one had some cool cars, like the Rocket ZX looks pretty cool. The 8-ball. The Panther. This gives you a little outline of the expansion pack information. So basically, if you didn't have the expansion pack, you could only do the solo missions, and you would be missing out on the multiplayer and the Brood War missions. So they were really encouraging you to get that expansion pack, which I kind of wanted to get the expansion pack because it would have enhanced some games like Turok 2, but by the time I thought I would want it, it was really hard to find. Here we have some little toys for the Pokémon 2000 the movie. And I actually have this right here. Apparently you could fill this up with water, but I'm not really entirely sure how you would do that without submerging this underwater, which would ruin this sticker, I think. So I never did that. Okay, moving on. We have a feature on the Donald Duck game. I always thought, looking at this title, that this was kind of implying some kind of swear words or something. Duckburg. I'm sorry if you have the theme song for DuckTales stuck in your head now. Here we have the classified information section. To get trick mode in Excitebike 64, you would type in Trickster to make for even easier writing. Brothers 2000. Not familiar with that one. I was so excited for Gold and Silver to come out. I remember that day at school felt like the longest day in the world when I knew that that game was coming out that day. Here we have another racing game. This one is Stunt Racer 64. And here we have Dragon Warrior 1 and 2. Turok 3 with this really creepy looking logo. Big bad dinosaur. Here's a little bit more on Pokemon Gold and Silver. If you played this when it came out or one of the remakes for the DS, what was your starter that you picked? I picked Cyndaquil as my original starter. This little guy is so cute. And I remember thinking just how incredible this game looked compared to the originals. It was really impressive to me. There's another cool sample team to give you some inspiration. Oh, I love Dragonair. It's such a cool Pokemon. I mean, all of these are great. Gengar was so cool, and Gyarados, Sandslash, Zapdos, and of course, can't forget Alakazam. discussion about Mew and Mewtwo, and the answer talks about how incredibly powerful they are and how it was too easy to just use Mew and Mewtwo. But at least in the second generation of Pokemon, with the introduction of Dark Pokemon and Steel Pokemon, I think it helped to keep some of those original psychic powerhouses in check a bit. Some more cool Pokemon collectible stuff. And here's that feature on Perfect Dark for the Game Boy Color. Is anybody excited for the new Perfect Dark game that's going to be coming out on Xbox? The trailer looked pretty neat. We'll see how it turns out. It's another unusual game, Austin Powers. When I was in school, I feel like those little paper footballs were just everywhere. I wonder if that's still holds any interest for the kids nowadays. My guess is probably no, but that was definitely a thing. One of the things that I forgot to mention in last month's Nintendo Power Edition that had Kirby 64 in it is there were some absolutely fantastic mini games that were included in Kirby 64. Definitely don't want to overlook those fun little mini games. If you're interested in counting them all, you can pause and take a look at all these cool mix-up of all these blue Pokemon. And here we have Counselor's Corner. It's Riiiidge Racer. Bomberman, Tomb Raider. section, where of course the lead-up review is Mario Tennis, which gets a very respectable 9.1. Drew says it captures the speed and excitement of real tennis. Ogre Battle 64 gets an 8.3, and StarCraft 64 gets a 7.7. It was an interesting era, I think, for naming games. It was just slap on 64 on the end and you're good. Stunt Racer 64 gets a 7.5. Blues Brothers 2000 gets a 6.8. And the Game Boy Color version of Turok 3 gets a 6.7. Scott says, nice production values and very little content. Too bad. Back Peaks, the Pika N64. Pretty cool limited edition N64. That had a 3D Pikachu on it. And one of the buttons was a Pokeball. That's a pretty cool, unique system. So that about wraps up this edition of Nintendo Power. The N64 was nearing the end of its life cycle, but there were still a couple big games to come, like Paper Mario, which was one of my favorites. And then after that, it's going to be the build-up to the release of the GameCube, which was one of my favorite systems. So that's super exciting that that'll be coming up. So, thank you for watching, and until the next one,